Most traders obsess over strategy and discipline, but the real breakthrough happens when you change how you see yourself. In this episode, we will talk about why your identity is the hidden engine behind your trading results and how redefining who you are as a trader unlocks lasting trading success. If you are stuck in a cycle of inconsistency, blowing up your accounts, and starting over, this episode might change how you see everything. You are listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. I am your host, Agnieszka Wood, a trading mindset coach and a seasoned day trader with over a decade of experience. If you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. In this podcast, we explore the fascinating world of psychology and the human element of trading. We take a deep dive into different perspectives to inspire you and help you navigate the emotional ups and downs of trading with self-compassion and confidence. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, this podcast is your trusted companion providing support on your trading journey. Get ready to boost your confidence and unlock the secrets to mastering your mindset for success. Welcome to episode 61. Why trading consistency starts with who you are, not with what you do. I've got Greg joining me again for this one, and together we are unpacking this powerful and often eye-opening topic, how the way you see yourself shapes every decision you make in the market. Hi, Greg. Welcome back.
Hi, Agnieszka. Hey, everybody. How's life today? Hope it's going amazing.
So far, so good. I hope that our listeners are having a good day as well. And today we are diving into something most traders overlook, identity, because your trading results aren't just about what you do. They are really a reflection of who you are being while you trade. So let's begin with the basics. What is, in fact, trader identity? Because in my mind is simply like, if you put it in simple terms, is how you see yourself. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The identity of who you choose to see yourself to be is constantly evolving and changing. And the more you experience in the world and in your life and with the people that you love, trust, and value around you, that's where your identity starts to build and change and morph. And that goes hand in hand with exactly the same thing that what you do in trading. The more experiences you have in trading, then you start to look at yourself differently. And it all starts from before you even open up your laptop or you open up whatever trading platform. It all starts between your ears and who you believe yourself to be in this moment, today, here, now. And that will reflect exactly the trading style that you're going to choose to have in that day, whether it's hectic, whether it's strategic, whether it's short, whether it's long. All of those aspects come into play with knowing who you are in that day. Is it up, down, left, right, centered? All of it changes.
And one thing you said, it all starts with beliefs, the values, right? The behaviors that define us. In fact, we begin to form our identity really very early on as little babies, in fact. The very first period of our lives is incredibly impactful on how we see ourselves, because the period when we are until actually late adolescence, those years are the years where we form most of our beliefs, our values, what we think is important, what we think is true, and what we think about ourselves. Who do we think we are, basically? Those early experiences, our parents, our environment, our peers, all those things have impact on what we will believe later on in our life, who we are, what we are capable of, what we think we are worth, our own value, right?
Every bit of it. Every single aspect of what you experience when you're younger manifests itself in one way, shape, or form as you continue to grow. And if you experience chaos and turmoil when you're younger, then that is a thing that will rear its head as you continue to go on in life. You won't be centered. You won't be much more in a calm, easy state. You'll be much more of a frantic state because that's what you've experienced and that's what you know. If you've been experienced to trauma when you were younger, you'll carry that forward unless you figure out how to unpack that and consistently deal with it. And if you experience joy, then a lot of love and experiences in your life that will affect you and who you are now today. And every single one of those experiences and all of the people that are around you during those experiences are part of the group that shapes and molds a lot of the beliefs that you begin to carry on. Now, that doesn't mean those beliefs need to stay with you forever.
Right.
It just means that those beliefs were developed when you were younger and impressionable. Now, as you get older, and even in trading, you get to decide if you want to carry that belief forward, whether you choose to believe you are good enough or you are not good enough, whether believe that you're going to be successful or that you always fail at everything you do. All of those beliefs become a certain age range when you choose this is me or I don't think this serves me anymore. I'm going to leave that behind and I'm going to try to pick up something that makes me become who I want to be, not who I think I am right now.
And that's a challenge because when you speak of beliefs, belief is something that we truly believe about ourselves. So we actually forget that this is a belief. We just think this is the way we are. And if someone says the opposite, we feel like someone is attacking us, right? Because we don't realize this is just a belief that I have about myself. And the belief of I'm not good enough is one of the most common belief that traders have. People in general, but over the last 6 years of me working with traders, I see that most traders operate from an identity of lack, which really stands them in their way to success. I'm not good enough and I need to prove myself. I need to prove something to myself, but also to others. Or the belief I'm not there yet, and constantly pushing forward and forcing the success, forcing themselves into the identity of like, I am either not worthy, not good enough yet. I still need to prove something, is forcing them into those behaviors that are hurting them long term in and actually in short term as well in trading. Our behaviors completely align with our identity. And I think that when we understand that if you believe something about yourself, this is the way you will act it out in your daily life, in your trading, in everything you do. That's why you hear a lot of times how you live is how you trade. And that has to do a lot with the identity, the story you are telling yourself about yourself, and not just telling yourself, the story you are believing about yourself, and forgetting that this is just a story you're telling yourself, right?
Oh God, yeah. It's the story that you begin to shape when you're younger. And the beautiful aspect about all of that is nothing, not even the story you tell, the beliefs that you have, the ideas and concepts and constructs of who you think to be, none of that is permanent. Every single bit of what you choose to say and do can be changed to fit who you are now, today. Every one of us has, we've talked about this before on other podcasts, you have a confirmation bias. And that
Right.
story that you tell yourself of I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, or I won't be able to fill in the blanks, no matter what you do, your brain will listen to that story, focus and find things that will confirm that bias. And
Absolutely.
when you do that, then now that begins, holy cow, I found the answer. I said I wasn't good enough. I searched for the things that I said I wasn't good enough for. I found them. Told you I'm not good enough. and you continue on with that story and that hamster wheel forever and ever. You can get off that hamster wheel whenever you choose to.
Right. You always get what you believe, you always get what you think about. So in order to change that, what you get in your life, what if you want to achieve something, you gotta align your beliefs and thinking with it, right? The interesting part of beliefs is that sometimes beliefs seems like they are empowering. If you look at traders, most traders are very ambitious people, but they're very successful people too.
Yeah.
I remember when I got into trading, and I've heard stories about how, how people cannot succeed unless they're very disciplined, they're very consistent, they're very process oriented, and all these things. And whatever I heard that I thought, maybe I'm not that, I would completely reject. And there was this part of me that said, well, I'll be different because I had my way, how I achieve success in my life. And I thought, I'm going to do it my way. So there could be a belief that you have that's very empowering. Like, for example, you believe that as long as you don't give up, you won't fail. But that belief, even though it seems very strong, it can be very sabotaging from the trading perspective because it gets you into overtrading. It gets you into fighting the market because you believe that you can do it as long as you don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you might feel like this is a great belief to have, and in life, it might be, maybe you have proven to yourself that it is, but then you take it into trading and it's not aligned with how trading works. So your identity, who you believe you are, and how you believe success should be achieved is so true to you, but then it's hurting you in trading. And then you get that feeling like, what the heck is wrong with me? Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you were saying earlier that you are writing an article about that exact thing, right?
Yes, actually, my article will be published very soon on Brains Magazine, and I I ended up figuring out, that it's not you that's broken, it's your process that's broken. And there's a very big difference when you can separate the two to create a distinguishing factor between who you are, what you believe yourself to be, how you treat others, the way you support others, the way you support yourself and talk to yourself, and all of that develops into who you are. Your process, on the other hand, is driven by the results or the experiences that you choose to immerse yourself in. And that process of choosing who you sit next to, who you interact with, who you learn from, what you choose to do, all of those aspects come into play. And that's your process. That's very different than knowing who you are. And one can be broken and one can be true, but always focus on the ability to improve your process, figuring out how you trade, the way you trade and why you trade, but always turn to the belief that your identity is who you choose to believe, whether that's a great person, whether that's a successful person, whether that's a supportive person, a loving person. All of those things are an identity and a belief of who you are. But the process and how you get there is very different. And when you can separate them, you can really start to believe that no matter what happens that's in front of you, you can fix your process and learn. But that doesn't mean you can't ever change your identity or create a new identity of who you believe yourself to be. And that gut feeling that everyone will get, no one can teach you that. You will just get a feeling inside you of knowing this doesn't feel right, or that felt really good and I'm not sure why. Follow that. That helps you determine who you want to be. That's different than your process.
Definitely. And the biggest part of the identity is to realize that this identity is actually just a sort of story that you create about yourself. And it doesn't even matter if it's right or wrong, because the biggest problem is that we are always trying to prove ourselves right, confirming the identity we have. But it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. What matters is realizing it is just a story you are telling about yourself. And as you say, you can always change that story. The reason why it's not easy to change the story for many people is because they identify themselves with a story and they believe that this is exactly who they are, and that's why they cannot change it. And if you feel like this is part of me and I cannot change it, then it's pretty difficult to change anything in terms of your behavior. So you might be trying to force some sort of habits, but if your identity is completely misaligned with how you are trying to change, it's not going to be easy to sustain that new behavior because it is not aligned with who you are. So, for example, if you believe you are an undisciplined person, you will act that way even when you try to do better. And a lot of people have very negative beliefs about themselves. Most people don't really find themselves, very smart, intelligent, certain about themselves and confident. It's like, especially in trading, you come into trading and you might be very confident about your success. But slowly, when you start losing after a year or two or many more years, that starts to kind of become a question mark, right? And eventually, you just don't know even who you are. You think everything is wrong with you, or at least something is wrong with you. Must be because you see all other people you think are succeeding, but you are trying to do your best, but you're not you don't manage to get the results you want. So definitely that the confidence is getting less, and that starts to break your identity, and you are questioning whether you will be able to make it. If you don't look forward and say, this is the identity I want to have, and realize that you can create it, you're getting caught up in that mix and pretty much feeling lost.
Oh, yeah, because no matter what you do, if you keep looking forward, you keep, basing it off of what other people have done or will do or their version of success, no matter what it is you do, you're going to be constantly chasing someone else's point of view or someone else's version of success. And that will always leave you empty because at the end of the day, your confidence will come from your process. And that's different. Your identity will come from your beliefs. And those are two different shapes and sizes. So no matter what it is that you do in trading, if you continue to educate yourself and you get better at trading, and then you decide, okay, so I'm a swing trader because I've had more success in that and I've been able to learn more in that area, then that's how you're going to build your confidence. And that confidence is going to get you to a success rate that you view as acceptable. Difference on the other side of
Right.
that is your beliefs of who you choose to be will create your identity. Those are very different from saying, I know outside of trading, if I close my laptop right now and I don't trade for the rest of the day, I know that how I'm going to show up for my family and my friends and the people around me, I'm going to love them. I'm going to support them. I'm going to do the best I can to show up in the best way that I can for the people that's around me. I'm going to try to do the right things. I'm going to try to, decrease the amount of negative aspects that I do in my life. And I'm really going to believe that when I'm away from trading, I can be and am a good person. And those are very separate worlds. So please just make sure that you can close your laptop, recognize that you're a good person in choosing to do what you do, open your laptop, build your confidence, and now you're marrying a belief system and an identity of who you are with the confidence of being able to get through your process and learning to become better at trading.
One of the beliefs that is very strong for most people, at least in a certain group. I'm not sure about the very new generation, how they will approach that belief. But most people that I work with that are, somewhere at this point between 35 and let's say 55, they believe that they have to work hard in order to achieve success. And just closing the laptop, even though it seems like something really very easy to do, is really challenging. So imagine in the morning, you took a few trades, And regardless of the results, you want to close your laptop. But your head is telling you, well, I had a good day and I could go and relax, but yeah, maybe I can make more. What am I going to do with the rest of the day? I have to, like, this is not enough work that I put into it. I mean, what just worked half an hour. I mean, what is my wife going to say? I'm not a lazy person, right? I need to work more. And then you stay there and you lose the money you made in the morning. On the other hand, when you had a losing morning, you might feel like you probably didn't put enough work into it. So you have to work more in order to improve the results. But in trading, that just doesn't work because by staying there longer, you either lose what you made just by pushing because you feel you have to make trades. That's how you feel you are actually working. Because if you're sitting in front of the computer just watching the charts, that's not work. That's doing nothing, right? So that doesn't give you the right feeling either. So you're being caught up between what trading requires and what you believe your success should look like working hard. So it's such a key thing to even just become aware of what your beliefs are about success, about what you think about failure, what you believe about money, how easy it should be to make money, what you believe about yourself, what kind of money do you deserve, and will you allow yourself to make a lot of money in no time and then just go and relax and enjoy it? Or will you be trying to force things? And those beliefs, whatever beliefs you have, they form the foundation of how you behave under pressure. You are being confronted with all your beliefs. They are like a mirror that every day you sit in front of and you look at the screen and you think you're looking at the market, but your beliefs are staring back at you and hitting you one after the other. And if you are not aware of what your beliefs are and which of your beliefs are working for you in trading and which are working against you, that is going to be challenging because you never know what you're being hit by and what is it that you do that's making it worse and what can make it better. So it's very confusing.
It all comes down to your entire belief system. And being part of what I'm going to mix in a little bit of what my TEDx will be, which is, generational strategy. And a lot of what you just said is very indicative of the different generations that are jumping into this. If you are a boomer or an early Gen X, that full calendar and seeing things that you have to work and making sure that your calendar is full and you are busy, that to you signals success and signals I'm working. And that is a very different shift when you are working in that sort of genre rather than a millennial and a Gen Z who view themselves as, I really want fluidity.
Right.
I would like to choose when I would like to be able to really sit down and make an effort and make an impact. And I would like to trade for 2 hours when that's going to be a different scenario than if you're a boomer or an early Gen X, you're going to go, I have to trade from 9:30 to 4 because my work life is 9:30 to 4 and that creates value in who I am, which adds to my identity. And that's very, very different when you choose to look at it from a perspective of a younger generation who has always had to pivot from a digital overload of everything that they're doing. And they realize that they're able to go, wait, I don't need to be busy in order to be providing value or to be successful. I just need to find something that allows me the time to put in the correct amount of effort and energy into creating success, and whatever time frame that falls into, that's good for me. And that's a very different identity and strategy than other generations.
Yeah, you are so right. Because if you talk with other people in our age, a lot of times when you say, "How are you?" you will hear, "Oh, so busy." It's almost like it's some kind of status, right? It's like, "Oh, you're busy. That's good." I sometimes even catch myself on that, like, "Oh, I'm so busy." And like, yeah, but busy is not the thing that, brings you anything, just being busy. But it is it has been fed to me, with a spoon since I was young. You got to be busy. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who have that feeling of, as long as I'm busy, I'm useful, and then I can feel good about myself. So this busy became part of our identity that we bring into our trading. And when I speak to my students about patience, it's like this big shock. How do I do being patient? What does this even mean? Sitting there and doing nothing? The whole concept of doing nothing is just like this magical word. Like, how do I do nothing, right? What do I do? Yeah, that's the whole point. You don't do anything. When you do nothing, it means doing nothing. It means not doing.
That's exactly it. Nothing.
So that's so the whole alignment of values is is such a topic that not many really people think about, but everyone is just by being busy trying to solve the problem, right? As long as I'm working on my problem, a lot of people will work on their problem. Like, don't work on the problem, because then you're just sitting in that area of the problem. Work on a solution. Like when people discover the problem, like in trading, it's like, I need to work on that. Yeah, but what exactly are you going to be doing? Because working on the problem doesn't mean working on a solution. It's a completely, it's as I call it, it's a completely different box. The solution is not in the same box as the problem. So you got to switch your focus and go into the direction of the solution. And a lot of times when you are too caught up in your problem, you won't figure out the solution. So you do have to step back and do nothing for a certain period of time. For some people might be 5 minutes, for some people might be a day, for some people might be a week before the solution has the space to come in and to show itself, right? Because we are so caught up in trying to solve the problem. Speaking of values, if you think, for example, about the value of freedom, this is the reason why most traders get into trading. Isn't it true?
Yeah.
Not to work for the boss, right?
Yep.
And what you mentioned, the mentality of 9 to 5 mentality, is the employee mentality. So on one hand, you don't want to be an employee, you don't want to have a boss, you don't want to have a 9 to 5, but then with the belief of I need to work hard to succeed, you come into trading, and then you become an employee from that mindset. I have to sit here from the market open to market close because I need to work my hours. Like, I need to do it, right? Sometimes that mindset shows up as coming into trading in the morning and saying to yourself, okay, I just want to be done quickly. I just want to trade and then be done. And that is a very sneaky employee mindset, because you come in, and whether there is an opportunity to trade or not, you're forcing the trade. And the sneaky part of it is, to be done with it, it almost sounds like I have a certain amount of work to do, and I just want to get this out of the way so that I can enjoy my day. But that's not trading. You can't do that. You cannot think, I will just come in and then trade and then everything will be fine. Because what if there is no opportunity? Guess what you will be doing? You will be forcing, because you feel like you need to do the work that is planned for that day. It's also an employee mindset. So it's such a sneaky thing how we think, how things should be looking and how things should be working in our life. And we just bring it all into trading. If you value freedom, but you trade like a control freak, which a lot of traders do, control everything,
Yep.
you will simply feel that inner conflict, like there is something wrong. Yes, because it's completely misaligned. Your values are completely misaligned with how the market is working and what you should be doing as a trader, how your trader's identity should be.
Yeah. It is one of the most intricate yet convoluted ideas that we enter in with, because at the end of the day, we all know that your mind is designed to solve problems.
Right.
That's why it exists in your life. It is designed to evaluate information. It's designed to protect you. It's designed to throw out scenarios of experiences, and then it's designed to find the solution for that to protect you so that going forward, you know what to do. Well, if you come in with the mindset of the 9 to 5 and the problem becomes, wait a minute, I, but I need to trade more. You are creating the problem. And if you have created the problem, you are going to have a very difficult time finding the answer to the problem that you created. Hence, that's where people like Agnieszka and myself come in to be able to tell you that the solution is something different than what you're seeing it to be. But because you created your problem, you can't actively look and go, oh, there's the problem. Oh, I know the solution immediately. Your mind doesn't work that way. And you need coaches, you need help, you need a community, you need support to be able to get that distance that Agnieszka was talking about, whether it's an hour, a day, or a week, and have someone say, okay, yep. So here's what you can be able to do. What do you say if you're going in with trading that you have to trade from 9:30 to 4? What if we start from 10 to 12 and we just see how that feels? And if there is an opportunity, take it. If there isn't, just recognize that there isn't and keep looking to see if there's an opportunity.
Right.
And then expand it and work around a time frame that creates a solution to the problem that you have created. And that's where, things like what Agnieszka teaches and what she does is some of the most valuable things that you'll experience when you get into trading.
One thing that I recommend to everyone, whether they're my students or not, is start journaling. Start journaling and keep your stats. And most people don't like doing that because, first of all, there's like, I'm not a writer or I don't like writing. There's all kinds of resistance coming up. And for the stats, nobody likes to see their mistakes right in front of them. So people tend not to look at their stats or keeping track of them. The cool thing about it is when you start actually doing that is that you can see what is your best time to trade. When are you the most effective? When are you making mistakes? What kind of size, what kind of instrument that you are trading is the best for you? And helping yourself with that to align more and more with trading. You and trading together to form that beautiful relationship. It's like you building a relationship based on alignment, just like you would be building a relationship with someone else. Just looking at what are my values and how does the other side, the market in this case, is operating. Can we align with each other so that there are no bumps, that we don't have those confrontations every day, that we don't struggle to go the same direction instead of going against the trend, going against the force that you cannot control as a trader, as a retail trader. You are fighting with the biggest force there is in the market, and you believe a lot of times that you can actually win it. So that's the power of beliefs, that it will make you do things that are completely not compatible with the environment that you are in. For example, if you have a belief that you have to be perfect to succeed, and I was guilty of it myself, because in my life, I have been striving for perfection in everything I was doing. Cost a lot of energy, but in trading, it also costed me a lot of money. Because when you strive for perfection, you will struggle to hold through any uncertainty. You will try to control everything. And in the market, there is so much uncertainty and you cannot control it. You have to build the resilience to go through it, to be comfortable with the discomfort.
Oh, God.
But what most people do is fight with it, trying to create a false sense of security and certainty, and sort of lying to themselves that now they know for sure, right? And they try to prove that their thesis is right. It's not about that. You're wasting your energy. That's why it's so important to find out what are your beliefs? What is it that you are telling yourself? What kind of beliefs are forming your identity that you bring into everyday trading?
Yeah. Because no matter everything that you do, who you are will bleed into how you trade. There's no truer statement. It just is.
Do you have any belief that you had to let go of to evolve as a trader?
Yes, 100%. I would probably say in specific to this term, one of the biggest lessons that I had to learn and I needed to set down and remove that belief that I had was I always, in the very beginning, I always believed that I needed to get in to whatever the trend was that I thought was happening on the candle that would start the trend. So every single trade that I wanted to get into, I would go, oh, that's a bottoming candle. All right, I'm going to get in. And I would go, oh my God, it's wrong. And then 5 days later, it would, go in the direction it was supposed to go. But I always believed that I couldn't be in a trade unless I got in on the exact candle from the time frame I was searching in order for that to be a successful trade to move in the way that I had thought. And I believed it.
I can see how that was really destroying your progress.
It was brutal. It was just awful. It was such an annoyance and such a roller coaster of me trying to go, God, I studied candlesticks forever. That is a bottoming tail. I know it is. Or that's a topping tail. I know it is. That's an outside day. That candle just closed inside that. That's an outside day. And when that happens at a high, it's going to go down. I know it is. And when it didn't, it crushed me. And I had to remove that to go, okay, so it's not one candle. It's just the trend that may start it, but it might be days from now. But it's the recognition of the patterns that I needed to see and get into. So I had to remove the belief that I needed one thing. And I started to expand of, okay, I need multiple things in order for me to start to become successful at really what I'm doing.
Wow, that's fantastic. One of my beliefs that was very, very strong that I have used so much in my life to achieve my success was that I need to struggle in order to achieve success. That success doesn't come easy and I need to struggle. It has to be hard to be worth it. So when I got into trading, that belief very quickly showed itself and made me lose a lot of money because very similar actually in terms of the setup. It's actually interesting what you were saying because my belief made me go against the trend all the time and not admit that I was wrong, but I would fight it. I would add and add and add to the point that I couldn't add anymore. And then the pain would be so high that I had to sell, take a loss, and then the trend would change. And then I was saying to myself, you see, you were right. And the moment I said this to myself, the next time that it was happening, I would go in again and again and again. And I had that feeling of struggle, which I was so used to. So, in a weird way, it gave me a sense of comfort because I knew that. And because I convinced myself that eventually this is going to go around, turn around, and I will be right, which was the case. However, most cases, I could not wait that long because I was basically out of the capital and out of emotional capital to even stay with the trade. So that was one of the beliefs that I had to change. And it changed not just my trading, it changed my life, really. Because the moment that I see now that I start to struggle with something, I immediately stop because I know that I'm going against the trend, that I am going against the flow. And I'm talking about trading and in life. If there is something that I notice, oh, it's difficult. It's like, oh my God, And now this is popping up and this is popping up. And it's like, it seems like the universe takes some boulders and puts on my way. I'm like, I think I'm getting enough signs to show me that this is not the way and I need to stop. Right. So I started to learn those signals, to recognize those signals very early on. And I can tell you, I don't struggle in my life. Like, I do not feel the struggle and I do not experience the struggle. And I don't believe that I have to struggle. And that's why maybe, probably, things are going pretty easy for me. That's why I'm so enthusiastic about this whole, changing the beliefs and an identity. Like, if you have the identity that is working for you, that is aligned with your bigger vision, with things you want to achieve and how you want to feel, it is like magic.
It absolutely is. And it's one of those things that you'll start to be able to feel differently. You'll approach things differently. And the more that you're able to see that what you believed to be true might not be the truth, maybe a version of it is, but it doesn't have to be the end all be all. So once you start being able to shift on how you choose to frame it and see it, that's when that sense of freedom, because of whether that's, where you grew up or who you grew up around or whatever your parental structure was and the money situation was in your family, all of those things don't need to be the truth now. And you can start to say, I don't really need to struggle that much anymore. And that's not to say struggle won't ever happen. That's just to say it doesn't have to happen all the time in everything that you're pursuing. It just means that you can choose things that give you success and fulfillment in a shorter time frame, in a condensed time frame. And a lot of what trading does allow you to do that. Now, in the beginning, yes, there are going to be struggles. Your process is going to be wrong. You are going to get things wrong. You're going to make different trades, and some are going to go right, some are going to go bad. And that struggle is different than the struggle of understanding who you are and knowing that, as we have said, you got to work from 9:30 to 4. That's a different struggle.
It's a struggle with yourself, which is a bigger struggle than
Yeah.
struggling with your setup or your strategy, because those things you can basically, these are numbers, you can measure them and then you can improve.
Mm-hmm.
The resistance that you feel when you are going against your beliefs, basically, like when you're trying to change your habits or the way you are behaving and they are against your beliefs, this is where the struggle starts, because your beliefs are very strong and they will be pulling you back into your old patterns. And shifting your identity, a big part of it is to create the momentum that will help you to release that resistance. First of all, to see it, to even begin to see it, that there is a resistance and not identify yourself with it. Just recognizing what story is, to make a to create a little bit of a distance between who you are and the story you created for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Just to maybe give you points of how do you even start shifting your identity. Like I mentioned, awareness. Start by observing what kind of trader do you say you want to be versus how are you showing up daily, because you will see that discrepancy and you will start seeing that some of your behaviors are definitely not in line with what is it that is happening in the market and the way that you should be showing up. And then you can start looking at what is fueling those behaviors. What do I believe that make me act that way? Instead of trying to force new habits and being more disciplined, I have to be more disciplined. Build new beliefs. Start to tell yourself, I am a calm and focused trader. I follow through on my plan. And even though it might not be the case right now, make it more real for yourself. Say, I am in the process of learning to follow my plan. That is something that your belief cannot deny. While you are in the process, right? You're making some steps, you're trying. So formulate your new beliefs in a way that you make it believable for yourself and slowly start shifting it. So practice acting in alignment with the trader that you want to become before the evidence shows up. Because that's why we call it a belief. You don't need evidence in order to believe something, right? The thing with beliefs is you first create a belief, and because of that belief, you are looking for more evidence, and this is how you make your belief stronger. That's a cool thing about beliefs. Doesn't matter if it's true. It only matters if it's functional, if it's working for you or if it's working against you, and if this is something you want to keep, right? And as you said, identity isn't fixed. It's built moment by moment. And success doesn't come from trying harder, but it comes from becoming someone who no longer sabotages your efforts, your results, who sabotages what you actually want to achieve. So kind of, you want to become someone who is your best friend, who supports you in that process.
Yeah, it's been, I would probably say, to piggyback on exactly what you were just saying, I wrote an article not too long ago in Brains Magazine, and it's figuring out there's a scientific term called temporal distancing. And temporal distancing is how you choose to reference yourself in your own talk. And the I represents the thing that's your own identity because you're using the I. And then there's the me when you say, man, can't believe that screwed up. I shouldn't have done that, is different than saying, oh boy, you shouldn't have done that. So when you say the you inside your head, that's very different. You've created some distance between the identity of who you choose to be. And then you can go a third level by choosing to say your own name. And when you say into very tough situations, like say you're trading and things go wrong, don't say, I can't believe I just screwed that up. Because now you're taking on the identity that you're not good enough and that you failed. That's different. Choose to say, God, Greg, you got to be better at trading than that. Greg, you know that your strategy is better than that. You know it. And when you start to use your name, you then create, oh my God, okay, yeah. So there's a little bit of distance. That person and that strategy didn't work in that moment. But that doesn't mean that's who I am. Those are very different distancing techniques. And that works in life and everything that you do. If you're struggling with different problems inside your world and you say, I can't keep doing this, that creates an identity wrapped around what you will believe moving forward. If you say, God, you just need to be able to be better. You just need to be able to get better at it. You just need to learn more. And then you can go, God, Greg, I know that you can get better than that. And then now you're taking in the I of identity and creating the Greg, and you're using the wordplay to actually build an identity and confidence into choosing what you're doing.
This is fantastic. What a great tip. Guys, I really hope you made some notes. If not, rewind this and make some notes, because this is something that can be used literally during trading. Like you can write down for yourself the thoughts that you can tell yourself in this way. Fantastic. Few more practical tips. Morning affirmations, or we can call it identity statements. Just write few down that represent the trader that you aspire to be, and stand in front of the mirror. I know a lot of people say, yeah, I don't like to just talk things about, in the mirror and that I don't believe. Well, if you repeat it often enough, you will believe it. Look at yourself deep in the eyes and repeat it until you feel something. Don't just repeat it like, oh, because Agnieszka said that, or because some other person on YouTube said that I have to do that. If you begin with that attitude, I guarantee you it won't work. You have to add an emotion to it. And if you look yourself deep in your eyes in the mirror and take a moment to connect with yourself, I can tell you, you will feel something. So take it seriously and make a connection with yourself before you even start saying those things to yourself. And if you really mean that you want to become a successful trader, and the things you are about to say to yourself, it's gonna resonate with you. If you really mean it, if it's really important to you. If it's not important to you, you will know. If you don't feel anything, maybe you want to think twice about why am I even doing that? It doesn't seem that I connect with it at all. Because if you really want something, you look yourself in the eyes and you say it, there should be some sort of emotion with it, right, Greg?
Oh God, yeah. And one of the key parts of what you just said ended up with is the emotion. The emotion that you connect with in whatever it is that you're doing is one of the things that will feed into what you do next. Because in order for you to fully believe something, in order for you to fully latch on to whatever ideas and concept it is, there needs to be some emotion involved in that. Whether that's fear so that you can protect yourself, whether that's anger so that you can try to fix whatever it is that's in front of you, whether that's joy so that you can feel happy about yourself, or whether that's safe so that you know that this next decision that you make, you know you're going to be safe and comfortable. All of those emotions that get involved are part of your belief system. In order for you to ever believe something, you've got to have some sort of emotional attachment. If you detach from everything, you're not going to be able to get the same results. So 100% make sure that keep doing what Agnieszka said. Figure out what it is and find a way to get an emotional attachment to whatever it is you're trying to do. Whether that's become successful, whether that's make a great trade, whether that's learn how to short, whether that's, become a best swing trader, find the emotion that says this sits well with me. And when you do, you will build confidence and an identity around everything that you can do that will meld together for sure.
Absolutely. And journaling, of course. What else you can expect that I say, right? Journaling, of course, journaling, do journaling. And write down what is the ideal trader version of you that you want to embody. And what would that trader do today? So every morning, just write down a few statements what the ideal trader version of me would do today. You can meditate on it, you can visualize it. There are a lot of different techniques that you can use in order to make it more real for your brain to bring it back into the experience and help you install new beliefs. But having the clear idea of what identity you want to embody is really key. And observe your old identity patterns. So the patterns that you have been showing every day until now. What are the patterns? How do they show up? What are the beliefs and how do you act them out in your trading? Those things we were talking about. How do you think about success? How do you think about money? How do you see yourself? And then when you spot those patterns, choose differently. Don't make it too heavy. Just become curious, like, oh, so how do I see myself today? I'm sitting now in front of the computer. The market is about to open. How do I see myself? What things am I saying to myself? Spotting who you are right now and what is the gap between where you are and what is the trader that you want to be, and that the market actually requires you to be the successful trader. What is that gap? And then taking steps to bridge that. And because of all the things we were talking about today and knowing how much impact traders' identity make in traders' life and for your success, guys, as traders, I'm very excited to be hosting a masterclass this August to help you create your identity and go much deeper into the topic and show you how you can let go of the old patterns that are holding you back, the way that you sabotage yourself, how you can step into the new trader's identity, how you can create one for yourself, and so much more. I will be giving this class on August 20th. It's completely free. I only do it twice a year, so make sure you reserve your spot as soon as possible. This is the second one this year, so make sure you get your spot reserved. You can register at aheadcoach.com or go to tradingmindsetmasterclass.com. Go today and book your seat.
I highly recommend every single person listening to this jumps on that class as quick as you possibly can. If you haven't already figured out how to click on that link, before this podcast ends, I would highly recommend you jump in. You will become a better person and a better trader for it. I promise you that.
Thank you, Greg. I really look forward to seeing you guys there. The previous classes were a huge success. So I'm always looking forward to give that class again. So if you want consistency, and if you are a trader that is not having consistency yet, I assume this is the reason why you're listening to us. Start by shifting who you believe you are. Your identity is the foundation of every action you take. Ask yourself, are your beliefs, are your values, your habits supporting the trader that you want to be?
I'm going to end this with my last statement, just to make it quick and simple and easy. And it's by Walt Whitman. And it was said in Ted Lasso, and it's one of the greatest lines ever. Be curious, not judgmental.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Greg. This was absolutely amazing. And I hope you guys got a lot of value from it. And we have motivated you and inspired you to ask yourself those questions and wait for the answers to come in. And if you found this helpful, make sure you join my free masterclass on August 20th, and we will dive even deeper into this. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I highly recommend you jump on the class.
Thank you for listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. If you are enjoying my show, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and tell me what you like about it. Thanks to you, more traders will be able to find me, and together we'll make a bigger impact. So thank you so much. If you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. And make sure to also check some of the previous shows. Thank you again for tuning in. This is Agnieszka Wood from Ahead Coach. Bye for now.